The film opens with a father telling a story to his daughter about the sheep and her 7 lambs. The story also briefly touches on a wolf. Soon after, the father retreats to his cabin, but upon hearing noises outside, he grabs his gun and steps out. His daughter and her companion are both visibly terrified. Suddenly, a wolf jumps over them. Bhaskar meets with his boss, 𝐬𝐲𝐬, who gives him a new contract to lead a road construction project in a remote village in Arunachal Pradesh, which excites him. Bhaskar and his cousin Jonathan begin their journey together with no set travel plans. They decide to head to Arunachal Pradesh at the airport. They meet passengers, old friend 𝐬𝐮𝐩, who joins them on the project since there is no plane available. They travel by road. Upon arriving in the village, they settle into a guest house but are disturbed by bats. The following morning they meet a local named Panda, and he warmly welcomes them, and they get into meetings with other local staff and have some conversations about the road project. However, communication proves challenging as Panda tells them that the local owner will not give their land easily, leading to a bit of tension. Panda seemed opposed to their plans. Panda suggests that the road should be built along the edge of the forest to ensure that both the wildlife and the local residents remain undisturbed. This way no harm would come to the environment or the community after considering this. The group agrees to begin construction sooner than planned, hoping to avoid any complications down the line. After the meeting, they set off in their own car at night. But a minor accident left them stranded in the forest. Oscar, always the joker, was casually laughing with his friends when he spotted a wolf in the bushes thinking it was a prank. At first, he realized the danger. When the wolf started chasing him, he sprinted into the forest, barely managing to climb a tree with the wolf circling below. Just as things looked grim, Jenner, Dan, and 𝐬𝐮𝐩 rushed in to rescue him. Bhaskar escaped, but suffered a minor hip injury after arriving in a small village. They realize there is no major hospital nearby, and 𝐬𝐮𝐩 doesn't want anyone to know that Bhaskar is bitten, so he takes them to a veterinary clinic, which makes John or Don mad. Instead, they meet a local veterinarian named Anika, who, although not entirely sure how to treat Bhaskar, gives him some medicine to help. The next morning, Bhaskar notices strange changes at the mirror. His sense of smell and hearing are sharper, feeling a surge of strength. Meanwhile, tensions rise as locals and tribal communities oppose cutting down trees for the road project. Bhaskar had persuaded the villagers with promises of development, and their signatures were collected to take over the land. However, the villagers held deep beliefs in the goodness of the forest. Bhaskar starts experiencing unusual sensations, hearing distant voices and seeing people from afar. Bhaskar, seeking relief from his unsettling sensations, visits a 120-year-old Asian healer. To his surprise, the elderly man pushes him into a water container. As Bhaskar is submerged, he recalls seeing wolves, which jolts him into action. He abruptly jumps out and runs away. Later, Anika is baffled by how rapidly Bhaskara's injuries have mended. Finding it hard to believe, Bhaskar explains the odd sensations he's been going through, and she checks his heartbeat, prescribing a medicine. That evening, they head to a music festival where they unwind and enjoy the night together. Meanwhile, Prakash Pajjar, busy finalizing some documents and signatures, is suddenly attacked by a wolf. The next morning, Bhaskar and his friends find themselves at the police station for questioning. In the middle of the investigation, Pandy bursts in trying to explain how Prakash was attacked. However, Bhaskar and his friends dismiss him, assuming he's just drunk and rambling. Shortly after, Bhaskar falls ill, vomiting blood. Alarmed, Yasmin and Jonathan rush him to Anika when she questions what he's eaten. They insist on giving him an injection, but to their shock, Bhaskar resists with unusual strength, managing to throw them off and even overturn the bat. His newfound power leaves them astonished. Bhaskar receives a call from his boss, eager for a project update, when Bhaskar mentions a man being attacked by an animal. His boss dismisses it, insisting he focus on completing the work. Meanwhile, Jonathan and 𝐬𝐮𝐩, suspicious of Bhaskar's strange behavior after the wolf bites, secretly sneak into the toilet area, attempting to collect a stool sample to investigate further. Later, Bhaskar visits Prakash in the hospital and starts hallucinating, imagining that Prakash is speaking to him. His vision is interrupted when the police and a doctor arrive, ordering him to leave. As the doctor discusses Prakash's mysterious wounds with the police, Scare listens from a nearby door. That evening, he witnesses Panda and an elderly Asian man performing a strange spiritual ritual with others. The next day, tensions escalate between Bhaskar and Jonathan during a heated argument. Alarmed by Bhaskar's erratic behavior, Jonathan accuses him of having rabies. Oscar denies it. But when Jonathan tries to call his father, Oscar, in a fit of rage, pins him against a tree and leaves Jonathan stunned by now. Bhaskar has fully transformed into a wolf. They follow him by car, but Bhaskar evades them in desperation. They shout like wolves to lure him out to their shock. Bhaskar suddenly appears, leaping onto their car, though he frightens them. He spares their lives and vanishes into the night. The next day, Bhaskar, dressed only in his underwear, is driven back to the guest house by 𝐤𝐞𝐜 on her motorbike. Tensions are still high between Bhaskar and Jonathan, leading to another argument. Their fight is interrupted by shocking news. Neri, the new team member who replaced Prakash, had cut down all the trees marked for road construction. Even worse, Nari was found dead, killed by a wolf during the night, and the grim incident was captured on CCTV, leaving the village in fear. Worried about losing control, Bhaskar confides in 𝐤𝐞𝐜, admitting he had attacked Neri. Monica tries to calm him, not wanting the news to cause panic. But they end up arguing, especially when Bhaskar brings up the destruction of the forest. Meanwhile, Yeoman and Jonathan suggest abandoning the project. But Bhaskar confesses he's the source of the problem as Jonathan tries to console him. Bhaskar suddenly catches a scent, rushes outside, and discovers Panda hiding from them. Panda holds up Oscar's underwear as a warning, implying it could be used as evidence against him. But before Panda can react, Oscar swiftly transforms, appearing behind him in an instant, and his face distorts into a terrifying expression. Bhaskar threatens Panda, frightened but convinced. Panda agrees to keep Bhaskar's secret from the villagers and even promises to help him break the curse. Together, they decide to take the group to meet the 120-year-old village elder, hoping his wisdom holds the key to freeing Bhaskar from the wolf spirit. Near his death had cast a shadow of fear over the village, leaving everyone tense and uneasy. A growing sense of dread gripped the community in an effort to regain control of the escalating situation. The police enlisted the help of local special hunters, known for their expertise in tracking and capturing wild animals. In the meantime, Panda had been colluding with a policeman, and as a result, the officer arrived at the factory, trapping them all inside. They begged him to unlock the shutter, but instead he began recording a video as they remained locked inside. Oscar's body started to undergo a terrifying transformation. Helpless, the others watched as Bhaskar slowly morphed into something unrecognizable, leaving the group in a serious situation. The crisis reached its peak. Bhaskar had fully transformed into a wolf and was moments away from attacking his own friends in a desperate attempt to stop him. Jamin pleaded with Bhaskar, reminding him of their bond, their brotherhood, and how they had worked together towards shared goals. Just then, another wolf appeared and attacked the officer outside the factory, shifting the tense atmosphere into calmness. The sudden appearance of the second wolf momentarily distracted Bhaskar. The next day, while things seemed to return to normal, a sense of urgency still lingered within the group. Jamin, still angry about the previous night, confronted Bhaskar, admitting he wanted to leave and that he no longer felt comfortable between them. However, Bhaskar managed to stop him from leaving. That evening, Panda led the group to the elderly Asian man who revealed that for Bhaskar to return to normal, he needed to be bitten again in the same spot to protect him. Bhaskar and his companions crafted makeshift armor to prevent bites in other areas. Oscar and 𝐤𝐞𝐜 then ventured into the high hills of the forest with the open air and grassy landscape stretching before them as they prepared for the challenge ahead. Afterward, Bhaskar expressed his desire to finish the job and leave as soon as possible. 𝐤𝐤𝐜, however, urged him to stay, allowing the forest to thrive and accepting it as their home. Meanwhile, the hunters had received strict orders. The wolf had to be captured alive before it claimed more lives. The village was gripped by fear, believing that if the wolf wasn't caught soon, they would all be in danger. Bhaskar knew that to reverse the transformation, he had to return to the exact spot where he was originally bitten. To protect him, they crafted makeshift armor to cover his entire body, ensuring only his vulnerable areas were shielded. Meanwhile, the village's skilled hunters ventured deep into the forest, tracking the wolves completely unaware of Bhaskar's desperate plan to end the curse and reclaim his humanity. The tension grew as both Bhaskar and the hunters moved closer to their fateful encounters. As the wolf neared Bhaskar, soldiers scared it off, leaving him confused. Yeoman reminded Bhaskar that unless he were bitten again by the same wolf, he'd remain a wolf forever with no time to waste. Bhaskar rushed to a small hut where the wolf awaited to his shock. 𝐤𝐞𝐫𝐞𝐫 was there, revealing she had been alive for 100 years, kept alive by the same wolf's curse. Monica revealed that her true goal had always been to protect the forest. The wolf's power had enabled her to do so, ensuring the forest's survival for 100 years. She hadn't aged her life, bound to the same curse now afflicting Bhaskar. She wanted the forest to remain untouched and eternal, regardless of the sacrifices made. Bhaskar realized the importance of preserving the jungle for the country. But just as he did, local soldiers arrived and opened fire. 𝐤𝐞𝐫𝐞, sensing the danger, fled and Bhaskar quickly followed, trying to reach his friends. However, the soldiers managed to capture 𝐤𝐞𝐫𝐞. Bhaskar fully transformed charges in to save 𝐤𝐤𝐞𝐫𝐞 as the villagers watched in fear and the soldiers prepare to burn her alive. Just in time, he arrives and a fierce action-packed battle unfolds. Bhaskar takes down the soldiers fighting effectively to protect her. Ultimately, Bhaskar overpowers the soldiers, rescuing 𝐤𝐤𝐞𝐫𝐞 from certain death amid their victory. 𝐤𝐤𝐞𝐫𝐞, gravely injured, stumbles and tragically falls off a cliff, leaving Bhaskar heartbroken after the chaos. Bhaskar announces his plan to build new roads along the forest borders, preserving the trees and natural environment. The villagers support his vision, and the jungle remains untouched.